Traffic blares all around you. You hear the sharp, distant blast of a train whistle, and you start sprinting. Your lungs burn as your boots finally hit the concrete platform, hand outstretched, but the metal blurs past. The train accelerates out of reach. Knees hit the concrete. As the taillights fade into the distance, the self-blame sets in. He curses the traffic. He curses his own timing. For Arun, standing alone on that platform, the transit schedule is irrelevant. He believes he has permanently locked a door he spent his entire young life trying to pry open. To understand that weight, you have to look at the years leading up to this morning. Arun grew up reading borrowed textbooks under the unreliable glow of municipal streetlights. The financial margin of error in his household was zero. His mother stitched garments late into the night, while his father spent his days doing grueling manual labor just to keep rations on the table. The job interview Arun was running towards was their collective moonshot. His parents had emptied their meager savings, handing over crumpled bills representing months of sweat, strictly to buy his train ticket to the city. As Arun sits on the quiet platform, he mourns the loss of his family's single, definitive ticket out of poverty. The next morning, the silence in his family's home is suffocating. A defeated Arun turns on the television. The screen displays a devastating breaking news alert. The exact train Arun chased down the platform the previous day had suffered a catastrophic derailment. The broadcast confirms widespread fatalities. The events Arun spent the night cursing, the traffic jam, the heavy sprint, the missed connection, physically separated him from a disaster. In this instance, rejection functioned as absolute protection. Surviving a disaster brings gratitude, but it doesn't pay the rent. Arun's baseline reality remains the same: unemployed, out of money, and back at square one. So he restarts the cycle. He studies harder, secures another interview, and faces another rejection, then another, and another. The psychological friction starts to build. Well-meaning relatives whisper about his capabilities, and soon Arun's own internal monologue adopts their skepticism. He wonders if he lacks the basic intelligence required for the field. Dodging a literal train crash is a dramatic, visible event, but actual defeat usually happens slowly, through the daily, invisible erosion of a person's confidence. Sensing this surrender, Arun's father intervenes. Without a word, he walks his son into the nearby woods and hands over a heavy, weathered axe. He points to a massive tree and tells Arun to chop it down. Arun swings hard. 10 heavy strikes. 20 heavy strikes. The bark barely chips. Exhausted, he drops the axe, convinced the effort is yielding no result. While the exterior looks unchanged, each swing propagates tiny stress fractures deep within the fibers. Eventually, the internal structure shatters. The tree falls from the accumulated weakness. The final blow simply reveals the work of the first 20. Professional growth follows this trajectory. Each failed interview hones the technical delivery, reduces performance anxiety, and identifies the specific knowledge gaps that need to be closed. Each no is an invisible strike that weakens the barrier to a yes. Arun shifts his focus. Since the hiring decision is out of his direct control, he stops tracking his failures and begins exclusively tracking his daily strikes. He hones his communication, learns advanced technical skills, and builds personal projects. The chart of his life shows a high failure rate, but behind it, his skill accumulation is in a steady, compounding climb toward the threshold of competency. Months later, Arun walks into a massive open call interview. Because his self-worth is no longer tied to the immediate result, the anxiety vanishes. He speaks clearly and confidently. Out of hundreds of candidates, the hiring manager notices Arun's calm, unshakable demeanor. He is offered the role on the spot, with the manager citing his resilient attitude as the deciding factor. The year Arun spent navigating agonizing rejections was the only way to forge the specific temperament the hiring committee required. The failures were the training. Decades pass. Arun scales the corporate ladder, eventually founding his own firm. Now, as a CEO, he stands under seminar lights, answering questions from a sprawling audience. A young professional asks him to name the single moment that defined his career path. The crowd expects to hear about his first big promotion or a brilliant early investment. Arun describes the gray platform in his hometown, the smell of diesel, and the hollow feeling of watching the taillights of a train disappear. He identifies that specific failure as the moment his current life began. A journey is not measured by the connections you fail to make. The detours and the agonizing delays act as the strongest lessons. Often, the opportunity you mourn losing is a redirection, preparing you for the platform where you truly belong.